This is a review of my Castles and Crusades campaign. This is session 10. It was a real good session. We had the biggest group we've had so far. We had 7 players. One of them being new to the campaign. He's a member of our group, but he hasn't been able to join us for scheduling reasons, and he finally got in and enjoyed his time. It was a real good session. I started off a little differently with the new character from the new player. I turned narrative control over to the players to tell me how they met this new character and got him to join their group so they could explore this crypt beneath the temple of Matrona that they had discovered in the last session. So they did that. They came up with their own reasons for it, and it was a fun experiment that I'll probably do a little bit more in the future, giving them more narrative control to tell me the why, and instead of me coming up with it myself. So they went to this. They found this temple, this crypt in their at the end of their last session. It's beneath a ruined temple to the goddess Matrona. So they went into this temple, the crypt below. They started off up here in this room here. They descended the stairs, came down, and they were attacked by these ogre rats, I think they're called, and they're pretty nasty. So they have these huge teeth that they're always, even sleeping, gnawing at, because they just keep growing. They have to gnaw at their teeth to keep them down, or they just never stop growing. So they fought those rats for a bit, and they were pretty tough. They took some licks doing that, and once they defeated those rats, they spent some time here, bandaged some wounds. The rats had made tunnels in. They can eat right through stone with their teeth. So some of the characters were taking these ruined wooden coffins and like stuffing them in the holes. Although one of the fighters did point out that they chewed through stone, so they didn't think those rotten wooden coffins were going to do much, and he was probably right. But they didn't encounter any more of those. They were interrupted by a plethora of zombies that came out of this area down here. So they fought them with the 3 fighter types holding the stairs, protecting the rest of the party, and they did a really good job. They really worked their way through these zombies really well. But that was a fun little fight. I don't think they really took too much damage. I'd take that back. One player, I think the ranger, took a critical hit from the zombie, so he took a pretty good slam, but they made it out okay. They, like true adventurers, plundered these coffins, these sarcophagus in here and down here, got some gold out of it, and then they decided to go this way, and this was all covered up, so it was revealed room by room. So they got into this room here, and there's spiders, medium-sized spiders in here. And this proved to actually be a challenging encounter because we have a dwarven barbarian and a half-orc ranger, and both of them fell victim to the poison, which paralyzed them. So they were like paralyzed for, it turned out to be like 9 hours. So that left the party, although sizable, with missing their 2 heaviest hitters. The barbarian, he's 2nd level, and he's a heavy hitter anyway. And then the ranger is 3rd level, and he's a really good combatant. The ranger's really well done in Castles and Crusades. So they pushed on a little bit up into this room, and it was this whole area was kind of described as if you play Skyrim. Anytime you deal with the spiders, there's just webs everywhere and stuff. So they got into this room, and this was filled with webs, and this thing, in true Skyrim fashion, came down from the ceiling. And this looked like a pretty tough. The knight ran in because he's got an 8 intelligence, so he's being played accordingly. And he ran in to face this foe, and he survived the first round. And I think it would have been touch and go for the next rounds, but the party druid, who was also a dwarf, he actually came up with he cast calm animals, and it succeeded, and it calmed it down. So they backed out of here, and then they basically lit this room on fire, and they'd already hurt the spider in the first round a little bit, so it finished them off. So they explored this room, and they didn't find any treasure until the half-elf the knight, who's a half elf with a human lineage. His innate ability to spot secret doors, he found a secret door here, and this wasn't on the map when they were playing it. I brought it out after, so that was a room and had some treasure in it, some sizable stuff. I used the random dice charts and stuff from the Monsters and Treasures book, and it treated them pretty well. So they looted this room, went back to this room to their two buddies that were paralyzed, and waited around camped out here for like 9 hours securing the door. There was a door here. I just removed that so they could get in and out easier with their miniatures, and secured this area and spent 9 hours. I rolled for random encounters and came up with none, so they lucked out there. They then went over here, and this room, this door here, they had discovered that earlier, the ranger did, and he described it as it's barred on this side, not this side, this side. So they come in here, they get into this room, and it's this natural cave with this spring water here and a set of stairs that go up to a tunnel there. And it's got a table, and it described it as having a lot of old remains in it. And there was a ghast in this room, and it greets them with like anticipation, because he's excited that he's going to get a chance to eat fresh meat, because he's been feeding out of the cemetery, which they can get to through the tunnel. Pretty quick fight. We did have a couple characters, the ranger, the knight, and maybe the barbarian were all affected by the gas smell, but they were able to defeat the gas pretty quickly. Looking back on that encounter, I should have used more of them, but with Castles and Crusades, I'm still, because it's more of a old school style game, I'm still gauging some of the difficulty levels of what I want to throw against them. I don't mind putting them in danger. Like, this was a real tense fight that I didn't think was going to go that well, especially after the two heavy hitters got paralyzed and then the giant spider came out. But they handled it, and I should have thrown some more gas in there. I'll know better next time. But they defeated the gas. They found some real good treasure in here too. Some expert weapons, silvered expert weapons, so they're silvered and they give them a +1 to hit, but it's not magical. So they found a mace and a warhammer, and those were given to the cleric, and I believe the druid took one of them too. So that was good. That was a good find for them. They also found their first group magic item, and it was gloves of swimming and climbing, and those went to the ranger. So he's going to be much better at climbing and swimming now, although he wasn't bad at it before. But he'll be even better at it now, because they give like a +5 bonus to that check. So, yeah, real good game. We had some good role play with the characters. When they left, there was one small scene after they left this crypt, was the town wizard, who's also the mentor to one of the characters in the group. He sent his raven out to have him tell this character to go meet with his mentor, and that will hopefully set up a future adventure for these guys. Yeah, it was a good session. Getting some good feedback on the game. Everybody seems to be liking Castles and Crusades. I haven't had any trouble bringing in new players. Got one new one, and the whole group's converted over on my end for my games, and they seem to enjoy it. Terrain, pretty much all Dwarven Forge. There's some Reaper stuff in here for like the sarcophagus, coffins, the skulls. Those are Galadoria games. These are some homemade ones I made out of airsoft BBs, used Dryolint, and just some MDF and Train, which worked pretty good. They were pretty good. I don't know where those are from. I don't remember. My medium spiders are a bag I got at Spirit Halloween during Halloween season for cheap. They worked really well. And miniatures are mostly Reaper miniatures, or the dwarves are all Cyborg miniatures. I use those guys a lot for my dwarves. They make really great miniatures, and I like their dwarves a lot. Zombies there, but yeah, it was a real good session, and we'll be looking forward to the next one. Thanks for watching.